Welcome back, Shalloners, and welcome, Beliebers. Today, we're going to break down Justin Bieber's docu-series on YouTube, Seasons. I feel like he could have done better with that title. And not just what's going on in Seasons, what's going on with him and Hailey, because the episode about his relationship with Hailey Baldwin was only 11 minutes long, but oh my God, did we learn a lot. I'm going to break it down, and then we're going to talk most importantly about what we can learn from this, namely 6 signs you are in a codependent relationship. I've got the info. But first, just want to remind you to follow me on Instagram at shallonxo, where I let you weigh in on the video topic. You guys voted to have this video up today, so thank you. You can also head out to my, I'm so tired, I'm sorry. You can also head to my website, shallonlester.com, if you have a love question, and click Get Help to get connected to me. And be sure to shop my new murder apparel collection. They're one of my favorite brands. I'm so excited to do t-shirts with them. This one says cash checks, break necks. There's another one that says red lips, black hearts. So I'll put the link right down there in the bio, and use code Shallon at checkout for 20% off. Fantastic. So Justin and Hailey, as you know, if you're not new to this channel, you know how I feel about Hailey. She is an angel on earth. I am obsessed with her. The greatest compliment anyone could ever give me is saying that I'm somewhat Hailey-esque in any sort of sense. Like, please just let me have this. I think she's adorable and like super just real and like grounded and unpretentious. And I have worked in New York City and New York media for a really long time. So I know a lot of people who've worked with her. So we sort of run in like kind of adjacent circles. Like, I know a lot of models and photographers and blah, blah, blah. And everyone says she is so sweet, but she's kind of boring. But like, considering how bizarre celebrities usually are, boring is like it's such an incredible step up. You're like, I will take boring as long as you're sweet and you're normal and you're not riddled with oxy. Speaking of that, Justin's documentary, I feel like should have been called Justified, because the entire point was to show that he has been justified and has justification for all of his bad behavior. And it's kind of been like a slow, sorry, I have to like adjust this. Sorry, I had to adjust my legs. I have bad hips. Anyway, and it's been like this slow sort of manipulation of the audience, but every episode has been, this is why I am the way I am. From the first episode where he was talking about his kind of like impoverished upbringing with a single mom living in this apartment and how that really drove his success. And I'm not saying that like he's manipulating people in a bad way, but it's like he is shaping his own sort of victim narrative. And we talk about victim narratives a lot. We talk about it, with a lot of other people who are in Justin's orbit. Selena Gomez. Taylor Swift also has a pretty hardcore victim narrative, because when we pity someone, we let him get away with murder, right? I mean, my God, sometimes literally. So if we can drum up that feeling of pity, like, Justin, because he's not a super pitiable character. He's rich, he's hot, love him. I know he's lived his last fuckable day. I know, guys. He's tattooed and mangy, but he's always gonna have a place in our hearts, right? He's not like, he's got a lot of stuff going for him. You know, he's rich, white, male, kind of at the top of the food chain, but he needs people back on his side because he's doing his Renaissance comeback tour, right? So he needs to get people on his side and feel kind of sorry for him. So the first few episodes of Seasons sort of planted those seeds. It was the foundation of the victim narrative, and we didn't see too much of Hailey. And at the time, every time we did see her, she was like on her phone. He's like, babe, would it be cool if I like played the drums, like, and she's like, yeah, babe, great. He's like this Bart Simpson, and she's like, patient Marge. And in the most recent episode, where it's all about his relationship with Hailey, wow, do we get a sense of their dynamic? I took some notes. So they've said things before, like she said something like, I feel at home wherever he is. And I'm like, oh, that's really sweet. But then it gets a little bit deeper. She's at the studio with him while he's recording this album. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever had experience with a friend or somebody who's recorded an album. It is a very long, very boring process. It's Do this again. Okay, we're mixing the sound. It's a lot of hurry up and wait. It's a lot of just loitering around. And that's if you're the artist. That's if you're the artist. Like, I've made TV shows and it's a lot like that. It's like very little of it is the actual acting. It's reshooting and setting the lighting and doing the sound check again. You're like, oh my God. It's not all that glamorous. And to just sit around and watch it, I mean, forget about it. But Hailey was there. She was there until like 4 in the morning. And Justin would say that, like, yeah, like she sticks around till like 4 in the morning. She hangs out here with me. That girl's got a job, you know. She's got a pretty serious job. She's a model. And no, you don't work 9 to 5 every single day. Like, no, your schedule is very here and there, but you do need your rest. You do got to get up and go to that facial, go to hot Pilates, like do all the things you need to do. You have to be on your A game too. I make my own schedule. I have a really flexible schedule. I'm not staying up till 4 a.m. to watch somebody do their job. Are you kidding me? No. I don't care if you're an astronaut. I don't want to. No, I'm going to bed. I will see you when the magic happens. Like, add it on my Spotify. I'll listen to it with the rest of the world. So she right there, just even logistically, is putting Justin's needs ahead of her own. Because here's the thing we need to know about codependency. Because we hear this term a lot, codependent, codependent. What does this mean? What does this mean? Codependency means I care more about fixing your life and your problem than you care about fixing it. That's codependency. It's not, I care about you. I want to fix your problem. It's, I care, but you don't. That's the key. That's the key. It's not, we're in this together. You're fighting cancer. I'm at chemo with you. We're doing this together. That's not what that is. It's, you're like, I'm an alcoholic. And I'm the one picking up the pieces, trying to get you to go to AA. I care and you don't. Because not caring gets an emotional payout. What does not caring about a problem get somebody when there's somebody else who does care? Well, first of all, they get to be chaotic and nightmarish. It's like, I don't have to do anything. They just get to carry on sinning and wait for someone else to come and save them. It also gives them control over that other person, because then they can plug in just a little bit. The Hailey will be like, oh my God, oh, they care. They're working towards something. And then they withhold it. She's deflated. She tries harder, so she plugs in more. So you get this positive payout from negative behavior. We'll talk more about that in a second. Back to the notes. So when he talks about what he loves about her, I think this is really significant. He talks about what she gives to him. And to a degree, of course, this is how we all are in relationships. I'm not going to date you if you don't give anything positive to my life. But I didn't hear him say, she inspires me. She makes me better. I think she's funny. I think she's smart. Like, I love her work ethic. It was, she forgives me over and over again. He has a song called that. She forgives me over and over again, but I'm a nightmare. He said that. That was his quote. She's stable. She supports me. She listens to me. I'm like, bro, what do you give her? What do you give her? A project? Purpose? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that her life had purpose before you. And if something happens to you tomorrow, she will have purpose as well. She's her own autonomous adult with traits, gifts, goals, hobbies, habits, everything wonderful in her self-contained unit, right? She did not come to life because you chose, you anointed her. Like we just talked about with Kim and Kanye, right? Just talked about this. She existed before you. She is not merely a character in the play of Justin, the book of Justin. And that kind of seems to be how he describes her, right? And it isn't just him. A lot of other people sort of described her this way. They interviewed like his manager, I don't know, some chick, I can't remember her name. Something strange about the way she talks. Like she's got a weird lip thing. It just, I'm like, does your lips move? What did you put in there? So Justin and Hailey broke up and they kind of like gloss over. It's like, like they broke up. It was like, we like went our separate ways. Well, their separate ways were, they were dating, I think in 2016, right? 2016. And that was like Hailey's first love, probably first a lot of things. And she was going to see Justin in Hawaii and she's at the airport. She's like, okay, I'm about to get on the flight. And he's like, don't come. She's like, what? He's like, I didn't fucking stutter. I said, don't come. Click. And she's like, I mean, they were like boyfriend, girlfriend. She's like, what is happening? So she doesn't go. She doesn't get on the plane to Hawaii. He instead in Hawaii posts not one, but like a billion pictures with every Instagram trash he can find. Chicks on helicopters, chicks in waterfalls. That's when he was like loping around the jungle like a Yeti with his wiener out. Like, but Hailey was probably like, oh, like, can you imagine getting dumped like that and then having someone rub it in your face? So yeah, there were dark times. They went their separate ways. And people in this documentary are glossing over that. Because of course they're back together. She's not gonna like be like, and another thing, my husband did this, because she resubscribed to these issues. And the manager said that. She said, Hailey was very convinced it was different this time. And maybe she's right. It is, because it feels different this time. That was the manager's point of view. Yeah, their relationship feels different this time. Who's the different one? Justin. Hailey was always stable. Hailey was always good and loyal. That's how everyone in this documentary describes her, as this anchoring force. But again, what is Justin? And we've said before about Justin and Hailey, like, how could you not give your ultimate fuckboy another chance? When he comes back with a vengeance, I love you, you're the love of my life, you're my wife, I want to get married. What, I mean, who among us would be like, no. You'd be like, okay, this is the thing you've been obsessing about and crying about for years, So this walks back into your life, you're going to be incandescent with manic happiness. No wonder they had a short engagement. No wonder they had a short courtship. It was like she just collapsed right back into him, you know? And all of that emotional energy got funneled into trying to fix him. Because if she can fix him, in whatever the fix is, whatever it's his health, his drug use, then she can feel more assured he's not going to do that shit again. There's not going to be that Hawaii airport phone call. That's not going to happen. There's not going to be any more Instagram sluts on a chopper. But she's got to fix it. She's got to get to the root of whatever's going on, and she's got to pull that splinter out for him. He's not really working on that. Maybe he is. He seems to be evolving. But she is definitely working harder. And there was a scene it's a very like last scene in this episode where he's laying in some like, I don't know, plastic sleeping bag, a hyperbaric chamber that she's zipping him into like she does every day because it's good for his health. And she's like, you need to take your medicine. He's like, I already took it. She's like, no, you took it at 2. You have to take, you took 1 at 2, you have to take 1 at 3. And he's like, no. And he's like, meh. And he like disappears into the sack. And she's like, oh. And just like, oh, there he goes. And I'm like, I don't want to give a boy who isn't my son medicine. You know why? Because I've been doing that. That was a big issue in my last relationship, the codependency, where I cared more about fixing their problems than he did. And it got to the point where my moods lived and died by whether or not he was being obedient, right? Whether or not I was getting him to take his vitamins, I was getting him to get a good night's sleep, I was prying the 6th cup of coffee out of his hand at 7 p.m. And I'm like, and if he wouldn't obey me, I went berserk. Angrier than I ever had been in any prior relationship. And I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I am exhausted. I'm exhausted. And I'm not being appreciated. And even if I am, who cares? Who cares? I don't want to thank you. I want a life of my own. I want a partner. I don't have a partner. I have a dependent. Can I claim you on my taxes? You know, this isn't a partnership. This isn't 50-50. This is a parent-child dynamic. And more things in this documentary spoke to Justin and Hailey's incredible parent-child dynamic than we've heard priorly. So Justin says, stability is something I never had growing up. And at the beginning of the episode, he's like, I've always wanted a family. I've always pictured that, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's very typical of people who come from like broken homes. You know, like he had a single mom, his douchey dad with that soul patch that who was like dancing in and out of his life. He wanted stability. Everyone wants stability. No one's like, I want a chaotic, emotional personal life. Like, human beings want stability. But he, instead of crafting that for himself as an independent adult, which would be the healthier thing, he found it in Hailey. And to a degree, we all find stability in a relationship. I mean, that should be the point, right? Like, it makes us better, it gives us what we need. But his was in lieu of any work he's doing on his own. Like, I didn't get the sense he was super independent and rock solid and doing exactly what he needed to before he like glommed onto her like a drowning koala. And then comes the part that the manager, sorry, I'm so tired. I literally feel like I'm gonna fall asleep like right here in this video. I can't remember the last time I was this tired. But doing this for you guys. I love you. I bleed for you. Well, I don't bleed, but I yawn. I yawn. So the lady manager says, she's a firm foundation. She's a support. I sleep great now that Hailey's around. Because now I know I'm not going to get that scary call in the middle of the night. If something goes wrong, there's a competent adult there. Oh my God. If someone described me that way, like if my boyfriend's family was like, oh, he's your problem now. Actually, that did happen. I was in a relationship like that. And I remember my ex-boyfriend's mom was like, oh, he's a handful. He's your problem now. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, it's just a joke. I was like, is it? What do you mean? Like, I don't take that shit. I was not here for that because he already had seemed like a little chaotic. This was like quite a few years ago, but even a long time ago. And I'm like, you're not, first of all, handing him off to me. Like, I'm not marrying him, okay? I'm not his like new dad. Like, no, I did not want to subscribe to. And you know what? She was right. She wanted to wash her hands of him because he was chaos. And this is how Justin's management team feels. But they're paid to manage that chaos. They know what they get from this relationship. It's transactional. What does Hailey get? We keep coming back to that. What does Hailey get? What does Hailey get? She's the responsible adult. She's the emotional support wife. And what is Justin to her? A project? Salvation? Familiarity? I don't know. But we're going to go over the 6 signs, according to Dr. Linda Esposito. Well, she's a licensed clinical social worker. That's close enough. This is on Psychology Today. 6 signs you're in a codependent relationship, because let's refresh. Codependent means I care more about fixing your problems than you do. Does your sense of purpose involve making extreme sacrifices to satisfy your partner's needs? Seems like Hailey's staying up till 4 a.m. and maybe blowing a photo shoot the next day. That seems like an extreme sacrifice. Is it difficult to say no when your partner makes demands on your time and energy? 4 a.m. Do you cover your partner's problems with drugs, alcohol, or the law? Maybe not. I don't know. Do you constantly worry about others' opinions of you? Do you feel trapped in your relationship? And last but not least, do you keep quiet to avoid arguments? Ooh. Hailey seems like the #1 thing you need to be in a codependent relationship. Agreeableness. This is another thing. Oh, sorry. Based on some recent studies, I'm pulling up the study here. Scientists have found that there are 2 factors in creating a codependent helping. I'm sorry. Dysfunctional helping. So we would categorize Hailey as a dysfunctional helper, right? She's helping, but in a way that creates that codependency. Not like this is her fault, but there's 2 traits, agreeableness and neuroses. So neurotic people are like, oh my God, is your underwear clean? Did you brush your hair? If not, like, you could get lice and then you're going to get a disease and blah, 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 blah. Like, that's a neurotic person. And she doesn't seem like that. She seems like the opposite. She seems super, super agreeable. Now, what is agreeability? They call it agreeableness, which that word ticks my ear. I feel like it should be agreeability. So traits of someone who has high A, as they call it, agreeableness: empathetic, generous, kind, forgiving. Ooh, hasn't Justin used that word multiple times? Sympathetic, Trusting, considerate, trusting, like the person who can handle a crisis, like the manager said. Considerate and willing to help others. People with a consistent pattern of dysfunctional helping are often strong, empathetic responders and experience intense feelings and emotional arousal, like emotional awakeness, when they perceive that someone else is in need. They feel the pain and they want to alleviate it. They impulsively rescue. They have trouble setting boundaries up till 4 a.m. That's a lack of boundaries. And terminating assistance because they feel bad about the hardship they may cause others. Their forgiveness means they can forgive broken promises, underperformance, and accept excuses. So who do these people partner up with? Well, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. People with high agreeability, that means there's people with low agreeability. Tell me if this following list of traits reminds you of any pop star from Canada you might know. All right. We have self-centered, largely indifferent or oblivious to others' difficulties. People with low-grade personality disorders, feels entitled, has little empathy, blames others for their problems, arrogant, tends to act impulsively, has little regard for others, deceitful, has an exaggerated sense of self-importance. Drew House Clothing, to me, speaks a sense of self-importance. I don't know who, please don't even get me started. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. So in some ways, Hailey and Justin are the perfect fit in terms of their codependency. And so many of us have been in a relationship like this. So the first thing to do is go back through that list of 6 traits of a codependent relationship and see if these are pinging around. And you might not hit them all. I don't think Hailey hits all of them. You know, I don't think she's like covering up with like the law or like alcohol. You know, I don't think she's doing that. But I'm sorry, I'm so itchy. Oh my God, I'm so tired and so itchy. I'm so tired and so dumb, and people just keep requiring things of me. Anyway, you don't have to hit all 6 to step back and be like, I deserve better than this. Something doesn't have to be an F to make it an A. It can be a C-. C's get degrees, not in this house, baby. They might get a degree, they don't get my love. You're allowed to say, this simply isn't good enough for me. This doesn't make me feel good. And maybe we haven't checked all 6 boxes now. Maybe a year down the road we will. Maybe once children are in play, or even a dog or a house we have to take care of. And if I have one more thing that's on my plate, a sick parent, a sick child, a new project at work, I don't know how I'm going to keep this up. This is the time then to step back. Not when you've already checked 6 boxes and have 6 new ones to add. When you're not all the way in and you can be like, this is going down a bad path. Because only a fool learns from their own mistakes. A wise woman learns from the mistakes and the psychological studies of others. I want to know what you guys have to say about Justin Bieber seasons. I'm sorry I'm such a tired floppy sloth today, but tell me your thoughts about the documentary so far. I'm going to be doing another one when I guess it wraps. I think there's 6 episodes, maybe 8. I don't know. TBD. And let me know if you think Justin and Hailey are going to go the distance. You know, I love them. After all this, I love them. They're cute together. They're cute. They're just like, they're cuddly and puppyish. And she has an incredible collection of athleisure. It wouldn't even call it athleisure. It's just giant oversized t-shirts and very comfy looking sweats. Ugh, I'm going to go put on my pajamas. Let's be honest, these aren't my pajamas. I sleep in it, I sleep in it, and then I get up and I wear it out. Do I even put on a bra? No. This is what it's like working for yourself. It's the wild west of grubbiness. It's sweats as far as the eye can see. You don't know what I'm wearing below. I could have tentacles. Maybe I don't have legs at all. I'll see you later, Shalloners. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at ShallonXO for all my fun adventures and travel and all sorts of stuff. And if you have a love question, go to my website, shallonlester.com.